Good evening, everyone. The time is now 6:04 p.m. and the meeting for the Disability Issues Advisory Board is being started. My name is Teresa Smith and I serve as chair. Thank you all for joining this evening. I'd like to say happy St. Patrick's Day about Shamrocks because today is my eldest birthday. And while today is also a fun day to wear green, and celebrate extra luck. We are here because we know that building equitable, inclusive environments for our children doesn't happen by luck. It happens through intentional advocacy, policy work, and the dedication of people that sit on this board. March is the Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month, a time dedicated to highlight the importance of inclusion and removing the barriers that stand in the way of full participation. So thank you all for bringing your time and voices to the discussion today. Let's dive into the agenda. For those who are unable to observe now, the meeting is being recorded and can be accessed on the PGCPS YouTube channel for later viewing. For members, as a reminder, please keep your microphones muted unless you are speaking. Ms. Vickery, can you please take the roll call?
Yes. Board Member Ajakaye.
Present.
Board Member Olivo.
Present.
Board Member Brown.
Here.
Ms. Payne.
Present.
Vice Chair Patrick.
Here.
Ms. Blackwell.
Here.
Ms. Amaya. Mr. Dwyer.
Present.
Ms. Dorsey. Ms. Wingate Robinson. Chair Smith.
Present.
Ms. Torian Myers.
Present.
Ms. Vickery, that's myself. I'm present. I do believe I am missing one person and I am in the car. So if you guys can give me 1 second.
If I can just interject for a minute, Sharice, I think call Miss Rachel Doyle.
No, I said Ms. Dorsey. I thought
Oh,
I said.
did you say Doyle?
Oh, I'm so
D-O-Y.
sorry. I meant Miss Dorsey. Or you
No,
asked me, did I
Rachel
call
Doyle.
Miss Doyle? No, I
Oh, you
didn't.
did? Okay.
That's the person I'm missing. Sorry, Miss Doyle. I was going back to my notes. Okay, we don't have Miss Doyle. Okay, and I think that's everyone. I know that we had a change since last time with Miss Byrne resigning. I don't think I'm missing anyone from that.
I don't know if I missed my name, but Cottrell is here as well.
Oh no, I'm sorry, Miss Cottrell. I wrote you but didn't say it. Miss Cottrell, so sorry.
No worries.
Okay, and now we officially have everyone. Sorry about that, Chair Smith.
No
And you do have
worries.
quorum, so we can proceed.
Okay, with the quorum present, the Disability Issues Advisory Board meeting will come to order. Adoption of the agenda. If there are no objections, the Disability Issues Advisory Board shall adopt the March 17th, 2026 meeting agenda. All right, hearing none. There being no objections, the March 17th, 2026 meeting agenda is adopted. Approval of minutes. If there are no corrections, the Disability Issues Advisory Board shall approve the February 17th, 2026 meeting minutes as distributed. Sharice?
Chair Smith, I do not have an objection to the meeting minutes nor to the agenda. I just do have a point of order. So after this, I'd like to be recognized. Thank you.
All right, hearing no corrections, the February 17th, 2026 meeting minutes are approved. All right, Ms. Vickery.
Just a point of order. I did not acknowledge if Ms. Bowman was here. I'm sorry about that. Or if
She's
Mr.
actually going to be
Blackwell,
absent tonight. You can mark her as absent.
I'm sorry, Mr. Blackman. Is Mr. Blackman going to come
He's
in
absent too.
her? He's absent too. Okay, great. Thank you for that. Sorry. And
No problems. Thank you. All right, we're going to move into the report of the committee chair. I have 5 items to report out this evening. The first item is related to the 2026 Maryland Special Education Parent Involvement Survey. It is now available until June 5th, 2026, and it is aimed at parents of children ages 3 to 21 with an IEP who receive services through the 25-2026 school year. The annual survey helps the Maryland State Department of Education evaluate school efforts in partnering with families. The second item is related to some activities from the Family Support Center. The Family Support Center is hosting its 15th annual Parent Empowerment Conference that is being held on March 24th through April 22nd. There are several session types that are being hosted. They are all remote and occurring in the evening. Also, the 4th annual Autism Summit is being held on April 18th from 8:30 to 3:00 p.m. That is being held in person at the John Carroll Administration Building. Item 3. The National Rehabilitation Association is hosting its 2026 Disability Employment Virtual Summit. That is being held on April 23rd, 2026 through April 24th. This organization has had the responsibility of informing the professional community on existing, proposed, and even threatened policies and legislation that support people with disabilities to access the workforce and maintain their independence and self-sufficiency. Number 4. There were 2 community events since the last DIAB meeting. This was in District 6 as well as District 7 related to students with disabilities. And I just wanted to give an opportunity for those who attended and would like to provide a few words about your thoughts. I'll open up the floor for you all to share. Okay, Ms. Patrick.
Pardon me, I couldn't get my hand on the button. Thank you to all who attended the District 7 Autism Symposium. We had the opportunity to hear from guest speaker Casey Holland, who is a licensed speech pathologist. We also had an opportunity to commune with vendors and to hear from a panel of PGCPS educators and et cetera. So just wanted to thank you all who attended. It was a well-attended event with lots of engagement from the community.
Thank you, Ms. Patrick. I had an opportunity to attend the District 7 Autism Symposium, and it definitely was a great event. And I want to say this for the record. So I had a brief conversation with Ms. Patrick afterwards, and we are thinking that it might be a good opportunity to allow families, our 504 families, to come to one of the DIAB meetings to share their experiences. We know that we have CCAC out there, but there may be an opportunity for this core set of families whose children receive services from the district to have a floor. So So I wanted to share that. I don't think I have a motion, but just seeing the interaction from that District 7 event, there may be an opportunity here. So any thoughts? Mr. Dwyer.
I would be happy to host that at the Bowie Center for the Performing Arts, which is also PGCPS property, owned and operated. So if we want to get together, maybe after this meeting sometime, exchange a few emails, we can find a good way to schedule that so that we can have a home for it. I think it sounds like a wonderful idea to let everybody's voices be heard, and I am in support of it. And if everybody else is, let's find a way to do it at the BCPA.
Awesome, awesome. Miss Cottrell?
Well, I don't have a space to host it at. However, I definitely open and welcome the idea. I'm a 504 parent, so I think all our experiences are different because I always say the 504 is the document of where you hope people will do what they're supposed to do rather than understanding that they should be doing it. So yeah, I definitely welcome the idea and for us, for 504 parents to come to the table because I don't think they realize what they are entitled to and that they can not make a stink, right? But still hold people accountable and staff accountable to the same regard as our IEP parents.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Miss Patrick?
I just want to say that I hadn't considered making this an in-person event, but I love the idea. And I think what better way for DAB to, bring the community together than to do so around Section 504.
Excellent. So, as far as next steps, and Ms. Brown, I don't know if anyone from the board would need to be engaged at this point, but chime in if I'm not getting out of order here. But as far as next steps, I think that if there are any members from this board that would like to sit down and discuss the planning of this, just let me know, shoot me an email over. Otherwise, I would definitely connect with Ms. Patrick and Mr. Dwyer to see how we can get this executed. All right. So the next item, and it's my last one, is dealing with membership. Ms. Vickery, I'm about to put you on the spot. So the DAB leadership team reviewed the attendance record of its members. And I wanted to know, Ms. Vickery, if you have the information with you right now, are you able to let us know those who are not in compliance or at risk at not being in compliance as it relates to attendance?
Yes, I believe we had two members, actually three, inclusive of myself, but so we'll start with myself. If I miss an additional meeting, I am not in compliance with the required 7 meetings per school year. The second would be Miss Amaya. And I would say that Miss Amaya is actually over the timeline of missed meetings. For this school year, I did not count up the meetings last school year. And then Ms. Blackwell would be as well with myself if one additional meeting is missed as well, would be out of compliance.
All right, thank you so much for that report. So, Ms. Brown, knowing that we do have at least one individual who wouldn't have the opportunity to make up missed attendance, are you able to state what next steps are? I think we ran into this issue during our last term as well. And we had made a recommendation. So I think, because I'm chair and I know that we have this policy in place, I just need to know what is it that I may need to do, or is there an action that the Board of Education need to do? I don't know if it's replacing someone at this point in the game or what.
Yeah, I would have to speak to, well, first I would need to know what districts they served to get a better idea so that I can actually let the board members know from that district, they may have the opportunity to just place somebody as far as like an interim prior to elections are concerned. I know you guys, I think Board 1700 was on the agenda list, but updates for membership are going to be executed. I think that's the best way for me to say that, because I definitely sent that over to policy and governance. And so Miss Robin Welch is looking into updating the policy that speaks to that language so we don't have this reoccurring concern. So I would need to know if you could just send me an email as far as what districts they were supposed to be in charge of so that I can let the board members know. So if we have to put anyone in for the interim prior to y'all next elections, we can do so. Over.
Okay, excellent. That's great because it also impacts our quorum. If someone is on this board and they really have no intentions on being here, we can just take the next steps. Miss Vickery.
I can submit that official report later this evening or by close of business of this week, the latest.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that. All right, so our next agenda item is the subcommittee reports. First up is Board Policy 1700. The chair recognizes Ms. Patrick.
Good afternoon and good evening again, all. I do not have any major updates for Board Policy 1700. Our committee has not met, but I would be happy to yield the floor to either Board Member Brown if she has an update or anyone else on the committee if they have questions or updates.
I do. I'm trying to toggle my screens. Forgive me. Give me one moment. Let me see. All right, let me go into my inbox. Miss Robin Welsh. So yes, about 2 weeks ago on March 4th, I updated Miss Welsh on the recommendations that the board was, I guess, comfortable following through. As I stated before, as well as with the board, that I think this needs to be an ongoing process as far as us making sure that we always keep eyes on DIAB and what that entails. And the recommendation for board policy 1700, we did discuss number one, the name change. The board was definitely on board with it. And I believe the name was Advisory Board on Disability Rights or the Advisory Council on Disability Affairs were the two names that you all recommended and that we went ahead and said that was going to be fine to change. The next one was reporting flexibility, and that was to modify the current annual report requirement to a flexible schedule rather than mandating an annual report. Clearly define the deliverables while allowing reports to be issued as needed. We including a minimum reporting standard not to exceed a specific frequency. Of course, the next one we talked about was implementing staggered appointments. Of course, like we talked about. The other one was the bylaws and governance. So I did talk to Miss Robin Welsh about possibly implementing something similar to what PCAC has in place, and so that all the committees are somewhat, especially when it comes to our stakeholders, that they're uniform, especially when we have multiple stakeholders who are a part of different committees. We talked about making a clear distinction on the policy between DIAB and CCAC, because we did, thanks to the chair, we did discuss about oversight and how important that was to make sure that those two things are separated, but seeing how we can work as a team. Of course, we wanted to also implement new constructions and facilities subcommittee, engaging in PGCPS matters when it comes to new construction and research efforts that do contact DIAB The other thing that we, of course, talked about was employment and hiring subcommittee, specifically the dedicated aides. And those were the recommendations that moved forward. Obviously, not everything did get on there. However, this is the first step to kind of push and pursue the opening of what DIAB can actually do, as far as oversight is concerned and the impact they can make through PGCPS. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions? So, Board Member Brown, I do have 2 items. I'll hold. Ms. Vickery?
Ms. Vigor, you're on mute.
Lowered my hand and didn't take off my mute.
Yeah.
Thank you for recognizing me, Chair. Board Member Brown, quick question. Is there a timeline on when it's just like all of this would be official? Are we talking next school year? Are we talking what has that been discussed at all? Like, I guess
That's a
timeline.
great question. So maybe Board Member Olivo can answer that question as far as the process of policy.
Sure. Thanks so much, Board Member Brown, for your great overview, and Ms. Vickery for that great question. I will share one thing that I have learned being on the Policy and Governance Committee is that it moves nice and slow, which can be a little frustrating. But I have to, as I get frustrated myself, I have to keep reminding myself this is a deliberate process, and we do want to make sure that there's time for public comment and all of that. And so, essentially, the proposal with the edits that Board Member Brown outlined will need to come back in front of the Policy and Governance Committee. Then it will go out for public comment. So that's a time for, each of you and, of course, obviously others in the public to submit, comments. Is there a piece that we didn't quite get right? Is there a piece that we didn't include that the committee, for example, really wishes, was there? Then it comes back to the Policy and Governance Committee when we review those public comments. Often I'll just share, often there are no public comments, even though we think, oh, this is the issue that lots of people are going to comment on. But and then we will be able to vote to move it to the full board for approval. And so, just based on that and the fact that I would guess we're looking at close to the end of this school year potentially. I don't want to over promise, but also don't want to under promise, but it's going to be probably a solid 2 months just to get through each of those back and forth would be my best guess.
And I just had a follow-up question to that. Is there maybe mitigation plan is too strong of a words, but I can't think of anything else. What is the plan if you're looking at the timeline? I do know that there is a break in the summer for the board, rightfully so, and there's a break for the staff, rightfully so. Ms. Johnson, I believe y'all should have a break from the board meetings as well during the summer. But seeing that does potentially happen, is there like a mitigation plan? And again, probably too strong of words, but a plan of what happens to membership in that period? Like, say that the policy isn't updated, isn't changed, isn't revamped or something. Is that, and I see Chair Smith is, I'm not sure if Chair Smith, if that was your question, but that is mine.
I appreciate the question. I actually have a
what is
motion.
next?
I have a motion
Okay.
in reference to that.
Oh.
So before I present the motion, did you have any other questions, Ms. Vickery? Because I do have some additional questions. Okay, great. The first thing that I wanted to go back to, is Ms. Brown still here?
I'm here.
There you go. The tiles are moving. I don't know, and I'm not directing this question directly to you. It could be you or Board Member Olivia. But as it relates to dedicated aides, we had the recommendation, and I attended a District 7 policy event over the weekend. And I understand that the district has a plan in place regarding dedicated aides. My question, or let me, maybe it's not a question, it might be a statement, because I do have some questions later on in the agenda related to dedicated aides. I feel like DEAB is owed a more concrete response as it relates to dedicated aides, because we had a distinct recommendation as it relates to their pay. And if the district has, I don't know if it's a draft or it has actually been implemented on what the plan is, it would be nice to know from this group. And I'm emphasizing this, so I'm bringing this up because there was just a bill that was introduced to our state legislators that included making dedicated aides full time. So although our proposal from this particular group was not related to full-time employment, if there is a plan in place, it just will be nice for this group to know how the district is moving. So I'll pause there to see if either of you all have some feedback there.
I would love to provide feedback on that, and what I really would like to do, I think that we can send you some information about that, but I'd love to see that perhaps added to the agenda for the next meeting, so that Ms. Bowman or someone from her team can provide you with the update, because we have made a lot of progress in that area as a district, and we have plans to make even more. And so you are right. I think you are owed a direct response and explanation to that. And I would love if we could maybe put that on the agenda for the next meeting, to have it be a formal part of the agenda. And I apologize. I have to jump off for just a little bit, because one of my elementary schools, Templeton Elementary, there's a community presentation on the new school building, which I have to jump over to, but I'm going to do my absolute best to come back. And I'm very, very sorry that I'm trying to be two places at once as a board member this evening. So I apologize for that. But if Board Member Brown could possibly take down any questions that I can make sure to get back to you on, I would appreciate that. And thank you so much. And I'm sorry again.
No worries. Thank you. All right, so that was the first part of the dedicated aides. Ms. Vickery addressed my question I was going to have about the timeline. And my next one is going to be a motion. So I'll pause and let Ms. Payne ask her question.
Thank you, Chair Smith. The dedicated aid issue and the issue around compensation, and also an issue around training and so forth, was also an issue in parallel that CCAC was very interested in and had a conversation with Superintendent Joseph about. And so I would recommend that we have Dr. Edwards, who is the Chief of Human Resources. I was going to report out for recruitment and hiring, that we now understand who is responsible for looking at some of the issues that dovetail what we recommended under the umbrella of recruitment and hiring. And I think Dr. Edwards would be an appropriate person to attend our DEAB meeting and address not only the dedicated aid issue, but the Prince George's County is doing a lot of effort around the recruitment and hiring space. And so I think it would be helpful for the committee.
Thank you, Ms. Payne. I am in agreement there. So we have it noted for our meetings to have Ms. Bowman as well as Dr. Edwards present as it relates to dedicated aides as well as training. All right, are there any other questions? All right, Ms. Vickery, my motion. I move that the current board members of DIAB be retained in their positions and that current terms be extended until the pending policy changes regarding membership and staggered appointments are officially adopted. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It has been moved and properly second that current board members of DIAB be retained in their positions and that all current terms be extended until the pending policy changes regarding membership and staggered appointments are officially adopted. Are there any questions? Hearing none.
I got a question. I'm trying to get my hand up.
Oh, sorry. Yes, Ms. Tulane
You
Myers.
said until the policy is decided. How long is that going to be?
So we know right now that at a minimum, we got to go through the public comment period. So I think once the public comment, well, let me say this. Miss Olivio has left, but she mentioned that sometimes we get comments, sometimes we don't. So I think it's really dependent upon what type of comments come back once that period opens up and whether or not the time frame extends beyond next school year. I don't want to put too many concrete thoughts out there, but I know at a minimum we got to wait until the public comments happen. Is that helpful?
Sort of. It's just, you asked for an extension of time. Is it a year? Is it 18 months? Is it, 90 days? It's just good to know or have an idea of what that time frame is.
That's fair. Would you like to have the motion amended to have a certain time frame on it?
I think yes. I think I would because I think it'd be helpful for folks. Some people may be planning to get off the board. I don't know. Just so that we have an idea. Other people have their hands up as well. So
okay, yeah. So before we amend the motion, let me take Ms. Patrick.
Yes, I'm wondering if we as the body have the authority to make that change, given it is in board policy 1700, what the terms will be. Would that be required for the board to make that change? The Board of Education.
Gotcha. Board Member Brown, do you have any feedback there?
Yeah, the only feedback I was gonna have, since right now we're, I guess, in the drafting stages and we haven't even gone to public comment, do we have to even have a motion and we just follow what the board policy says as of now? So that's kind of where my confusion was a little bit over.
So the reason why I made the motion is because we made the recommendation last school year to have staggered appointments, and this current board will be up on their first term.
Chair Smith, I'm sorry if I may just interject. Our board office director, Sydney Atleon, has her hand raised, and I think she could provide a little bit more information.
Okay.
On your question.
Yeah. So in line with Board Member Brown and Ms. Patrick, they are correct. Right now, we have to go with what the current policy says. We can't make any motions to change the policy until the policy is adopted with revisions or any new revisions. As of now, we have to go with what the policy says, because right now, the current policy is the one governing the body right now. So we have to go with what it says currently. We can't make any motions to change that.
So procedurally, do I need to retract my motion because we had the motion? Okay. I don't know what the wording is. Do I just simply say I retract and state what my motion was?
You'd like to withdraw your motion.
All right. So I would like to rescind the motion that current board members be retained in their positions and that current terms be extended until the pending policy changes regarding membership and staggered appointments are officially adopted and implemented. Now, I have a question. Ms. Vickery, I see your hand. I'm going to take your question and then I need to follow up behind the rescinded motion. Ms. Vickery.
Thank you. I guess my question for Board Member Brown then would be, when is the new process to select new members going to start, seeing that we're at March now?
That's a great question. I'm going to leave it up to the board office.
So
They
I'm
tell,
looking at,
they're our bosses. They tell us what to do.
so I'm looking at the policy right now, and it says that each representative serves for a 2-year term. So if you haven't reached your 2-year term, you're still safe. If you've gone over your 2-year term, the body has to put in, what you call it? I can't think right now. But pretty much we have to make a motion to put someone in that seat unless the person sitting in that seat right now decides to step down. But right now the policy says it's 2 years. So if you're still within your 2-year, then you're safe. If you're not within your 2-year, we have to put the seat up for appointment.
So we
So,
have,
Ms.
I'm sorry, Chair Smith. I think we're going the same way, but we have only 2 members who are not eligible for that, who would be considered to have an additional year left.
Well, I think we might need some clarity there, because the 2 members that came on board, I think they were fulfilling the rest of a term from the person who was currently sitting in there.
Oh, yes, correct.
And so if the intentions is to keep this board intact, you won't have a board, because we all are in our 2-year time frame right now. So I think my follow-up question is, how many terms can the members of this board serve?
So the policy doesn't say specifically, it just says you serve for a 2-year term. So looking at it, if the members, so let's put it this way. When your 2-year term ends, we need to have a vote for additional 2 years. The member right now could step down or continue if no one contests the seat.
So it's March right now.
Mm-hmm.
Can a motion be put on the floor to have the terms extended for the current membership?
When does the term end? Is it June?
Yes.
Okay. So
we will have to do application. We have to have an application period.
Right. So I will say we're going to have to open it up around April, May, and then have elections that last meeting in June to begin the new term. If no one contests the seat, then that board member will continue to serve for additional 2 years. However, if other individuals step up, we have to have elections.
So you're saying elections, but this was the way that this board was selected was through an application.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my question is, again, do we need to put a motion on the floor tonight to have the terms extended, or are we just done and you guys are going to open up the applications to have this board move forward in the next term?
So currently we are still governed by the current policy. So we have to go with what the current policy says. So the board members would have to appoint someone in June.
So does that mean the applications need to open up now?
Open up, yes, ma'am.
And can current board members apply, since there is no provision in the current policy that excludes someone serving more than one term?
Yes, ma'am.
Fabulous. All right. So Ms. Terrain Myers, I see your hand.
I was gonna kind of say what she just said, right? There's no limitation on how many terms you can serve, but every 2 years you have to sort of compete, right? Put your name back in there and go through the same application process. Now, if you don't get any applications, then the folks that are on the board that want to stay on the board aren't being pushed out by others. So I think it's going to matter if you get applications or not.
All right, so Board Member Brown, well, let me pause. Are there any other questions? Seeing none.
You
I
might
have
have saw
another.
my
I
hand.
have.
To let you know, I lowered it. Sorry, Miss Contrell. I was just saying you might have saw my hand, but I lowered it. I changed my mind. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Miss Vickery. Miss Cottrell?
I guess for me, for clarity, the question would be if somebody is interested just because they haven't served a term, do they automatically get it, or would there be elections for the seat?
All right, so I was just reading the policy, right? And it says members of the DIAB are appointed on a 2-year term beginning July 1 and may be reappointed except for the employee representative of the bargaining units. So from reading the policy, I'm guessing only the bargaining units we're gonna have to reapply for their positions. But it says everyone else may be reappointed except for the bargaining units.
So when we say reappointed, does that imply that everyone is applying for their current district?
So reading it, my understanding is that the board members could continue to say, this is the person I still want to represent my district, but except for the bargaining units, these have to reapply. But the board
Understood.
member could reappoint whoever is currently sitting in that seat.
Okay. So Board Member Brown, I guess in light of knowing this and when we had our attendance report earlier today, it appears that an application will need to go out for the bargaining unit employee and then the current member that is out of compliance and any other member that a board member would like to have changed out.
Yeah, I
All
agree.
right.
I think just for fairness and transparency purposes, like we want to make sure that we do open it up to the public. Not saying that people from this board will not be chosen again, but just for the public to see that there is some level of fairness, that they did put their name in the hat and they could be considered, whether it be now or maybe in the future. So just an FYI.
Sounds good. Thank you. All right, guys, any other questions? Ms. Taran Myers?
Yes, sorry. So myself and I think Mr. Dwyer were appointed later in the summer last year. And you mentioned that we were fulfilling terms of someone else. And I'm trying to figure out if that's true or not, because you didn't mention staggered appointments. So are we part of the staggered appointments, or are we up for grabs now, or the seat's up for grab because we're now at the end of whatever term it was we were fulfilling?
So the staggered appointments was a recommendation that came from this group last school year. And so that is what we'll need public comment on. So we don't have a response on that yet. In my experience and my understanding of the policy, with these councils with the district, when someone has to be replaced, the replacement is just finishing out that current term of the original appointment. But I will defer to Ms. Adeline. Can you let me know if I'm correct in that?
Yeah, and I'll go back to the policy again. The policy said all terms begin July 1. So if the 2-year term of that seat is ending, then July 1, we have to reopen it for new candidates. Or like I said earlier, if the board member wish to reappoint you in that seat, they may. But keyword is may.
Ms. Taran Myers, is that helpful?
Yeah, I just have to figure out, what I completed, whose term I completed, and am I in that 2-year thing? If I am, then I think I want to know that. So, okay, thank you.
And I think that's fair. We can myself, Miss Vickery, and Miss Johnson will get together and consolidate this information and follow up with the members. Miss Vickery?
I'd like to add to our conversation when we do that around specifically for Ms. Toria Myers, and for example, if you were reappointed by a board member, there are some, I believe, do we have a board member for District 9 at this time? So like there's a lot of questions. We do? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure, because like there's just, okay, so I just want to make sure we have that in in our sites as well. Because I know that we have a new board member as well for District 9. So thank you.
No problem. All right, any other questions? All right, seeing none. Get back to my agenda here. All right, so our next subcommittee report, thank you, Miss Patrick, by the way. Our next subcommittee report is new construction and accessibility of buildings and facilities. I will be reporting on behalf of Ms. Bowman. There is only one update, and it is that the Q1 Blueprint Schools report was released this month. It is posted on the PGCPS website. She did provide the link. It's a long link, so I won't name it off, but we will ensure that the link is inside of the minutes, so that we'll make sure that the hyperlink is there so that you all can go directly to the report. The next subcommittee is employment and hiring. The chair recognizes Ms. Payne.
Yes, part of my update, I think we discussed a little earlier. We did reach out to PGCPS to find out who would be the appropriate individuals that we would meet with the recruitment and hiring committee. There are 3 that have been identified, Tiffany Doyster, Lakeisha Littlejohn, and Amber Dixon. Also, Dr. Edwards, the Chief Human Resource Officer, was identified. And rather than the committee meeting with them, I think the next step, if this is what Chair Smith, the DAB, wants to do, I think hearing from Dr. Edwards about where the county is, and then following that, if it's appropriate for the committee to meet with her team, we could make that determination. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Payne. I think we are all in agreement with those individuals being in attendance and having a presentation on the next agenda for DAB as long as, they're available. I have a question myself for this committee, and I see Miss Blackwell. Welcome, Miss Blackwell. What do you have for us today?
I have a question. When it comes to employment and hiring, do we have to follow the federal law when it comes to Schedule A, when it comes to employment?
I think that would be a great question for Dr. Edwards.
Okay.
All right. So we'll table that. We'll have it in our notes.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So, Ms. Payne, I have 2 questions, and I'm bringing it under this committee report. It's not necessarily directed to this committee unless you all have input. The question may be more so for our board members. So I was asked to provide testimony on Senate Bill 863. And for those who are not aware on what that is, that was the Prince George's County Special Education Service Delivery Transparency and Accountability Act. Before I felt that I could provide testimony, I felt that I needed additional information. Well, before I felt that I could provide a position, I felt that I needed additional information. But I didn't get that information in time for my public comment. So I want to know, or at least the information that I'm seeking right now, is whether or not this work group, during your initial research and discussions, if you all knew the average number of hours a dedicated aide would work within a week. And I do realize that the hours are likely allocated based on what's planned in a student's IEP, but operationally, I wasn't sure if their hours are accounted more or less than what's planned. So, Ms. Payne, if you have any feedback, if you guys address that during your work group, I'd love to hear it. If not, I would like to ask our board members for some data, because I don't even, well, at least from what I heard, this bill was withdrawn, but I suspect that this may come back around.
Yeah,
So, Ms. Payne, do you have any feedback?
only that we did, we did request a lot of data that we didn't get, right? Regarding the dedicated aid. And I don't know specifically if ours was one of that. I'd have to go back and check that. But we never got the data that we requested. So I would say, no, we don't have anything official to share.
Okay, fair enough. The other thing that I was wondering, I don't know if this came up in your work group, as to whether or not PGCPS seeks for Medicaid reimbursement for the activities associated with dedicated aides. Did that come up?
Definitely did not come up. So,
Okay.
no.
So, Board Member Brown, is it, I guess I want to defer to you, 2 data points in addition to the previous data that was requested from the subcommittee as it relates to dedicated aides. If we could try to get it from the district. So the new data request is the average number of hours a dedicated aide may work within a week. And the reason why I think it's important to know this is because what was being proposed was that the dedicated aides be classified as full-time employees. So it'd be nice to know what does that universe currently look like. And then the other data point is related to Medicaid reimbursement. And that is it for me. Any other feedback or questions? Ms. Vickery.
I just want to maybe add for Board Member Brown and Board Member Olivo, just the way that Medicaid is set up for certain things in the state. Some things are carved out. So it would probably be direct payments that you would be looking for from Medicaid, this state level Medicaid, and not MCOs, managed care organizations. You would be looking for that payment from the county to the state, like something like that. I just wanted to quantify that, Ms. Smith, because sometimes people will say, oh, they have this managed care organization and you're looking for that payment, but there's certain things for children in Medicaid in Maryland that are carved out. And so that might not show up the way that they're looking for it. So you would look for a fee for service payment. That's all.
Okay, thank you for that background knowledge. It's good to have some experts in this area. Ms. Olivo.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to share, I had recently asked about Medicaid reimbursement for something else other than this, and I had a conversation with staff, and so their assurance to me was that they seek reimbursement for any and every possible thing that they can get reimbursement for. So I just want to share that, even as we wait to kind of get the more specific answer. Again, my question was around something else, not this particular issue, but in speaking with that office, they were like, trust us, like we go after every penny that we can for reimbursement. And then I did want to share as well regarding SB 863, which was withdrawn by Senator Washington. We were able to have quite a few conversations with him, and one of the things that we were able to assure him, and I know we talked a little bit ago about inviting staff to give a full briefing to you all on dedicated aids, but right now, and I want to make sure I get this number right, I think it's 441 dedicated aid positions in Prince George's County Public Schools are filled. They are filled right now. And so that is one of the conversations back and forth with Senator Washington. Part of his bill was to get those positions filled. And in working on our state corrective action plan and our really hard work and dedicated work toward this, we have now, I can't guarantee that in the last 2 weeks somebody hasn't quit, but those positions are filled. And so again, I really hope that we can invite the staff to come and share those hiring updates with the team, because they of course have all the additional details. But we did have a lot of conversations with Senator Washington about the work that we're doing and the progress that we're making. And that did give him the I guess the confidence in us to withdraw this bill. So I wanted to share that.
Thank you. And because you shared that, I have some follow-up. I'm definitely going to be looking forward to the presentation so that I can understand the data a little bit more, because just word on the street, there are some families who are stating that their child still doesn't have a dedicated aide. So maybe some context is needed in that regard. Where I have reservations, we talk about vacancies being filled, but as it relates to DAB, the concern has been the pay rate. So you can fill a vacancy, but are we addressing the underlying concern, and what does the turnover rate look like? So although we got vacancies filled, I just wanted to be out there. Maybe this could be something that when HR comes, they can address this with us. But it would be nice to now, maybe another data point. It would be nice to know the turnover rate and how we addressing keeping people in these seats. And I apologize, my camera keeps going off on this own. So I'll state that. Ms. Blackwell, I see your hand.
I have a student, I don't know if you remember, I stated last year I had a student that I was working with that didn't have a dedicated aide. And she just recently, a couple of months, received one by December. The aide does not get breaks. She's with that student all day. So to be fair to her, I step in to be able to allow her to get a break during her workday.
I'm not HR, but I'm going to just say if somebody is working 8 hours, or maybe let me stop. If somebody's working 4 hours, there should be a break somewhere in there. But that's out of my lane. I appreciate you making that comment. So that is something else that we can definitely make sure that is addressed with HR. I do hope as a school district we are in compliance with labor laws. Are there any other questions? All right, thank you. So the next agenda item is new business. Is there any new business from any member here? Ms. Vickery.
So while I wasn't here last meeting, I did get a chance to review the meeting, of course, because I had to take the notes from it. But so I had a couple of questions. No, I'm not talking to you, Car. Sorry. And I have to actually put my hand down. My car probably thinks I'm like having an emergency. It will if I move my hand a certain way. Sorry. I had a couple of questions kind of towards the presentation that we received. And I don't know if Ms. Adeline is still here. So maybe, oh, yes, she is. Hi, Ms. Adeline. And this is Ms. Adeline and for Board Member Olivo. There was discussion about AP 4172 and about changing the position within 4172. I believe there's a new name for that director or program manager. I want to be absolutely correct when I say it. What did Mr. Henderson call it? Forgive me for that, for not having it. I'll make sure that I add it into the minutes, but it was I'm sorry, Director of Fair Practices. But originally it was called the Equity Assurance Officer, I believe, the EAO. Has AP 4172 been added to this year's policy work plan, or will that be added to next year's policy work plan?
So, as members of the board, we cannot speak to administrative procedures. This is not our jurisdiction. However,
Okay.
I could speak to board member Oliver is on there, but I could speak to board member Oliver and Dr. Felton Moss about reviewing the policy because the policy guides the AP. So the changes would first need to be made in the policy and then copied to the AP. But as far as the AP, as board members and board staff, we cannot speak to APs.
Okay, understood. Because Mr. Henderson stated for the record that it was being revamped. So I wanted to know what was the adjoining, then policy that goes with it, the BP that goes with it. And if that BP then I guess is on the work plan, because if there is a change, what is that? And then when will it be coming out for public comment? That's kind of my question. And so maybe, if I can get a follow-up to that, maybe at our next meeting. I know this is, again, I wasn't here. I would have asked that question if I was here that day. But he did say that the AP is being changed. And so, Ms. Adeline, thank you for explaining that there's always a BP that goes with the AP. So if could kind of find out what that BP is and if it is on the work plan, that would be good to know. Just kind of tracking through completion of what these changes are that Mr. Henderson reported. So that was one of my questions. The second question, I don't really understand what I was writing right there, so I'll have to come back to that. Mr. Henderson also, and these might have to just go back to Mr. Henderson, right? Like, so it might be something that board member Brown and board member Olivo are submitting to him and for him to respond to us on. Okay, I can't help you. I'm in the middle of a question. I'll be back with you in about 5 minutes. I gotta get my questions out. Thank you. Sorry. There was a statement. I'm sorry, Board Member Brown. There was a statement where he discussed about how he was going to transition from the vendor to in-house staff. The question that I really wanted someone to ask and just didn't get asked is, once it's fully staffed, how will the transition plan look like? So if he could let us know what that actually looks like. Are we offboarding, like 5 cases at a time, 1 case at a time, once a month, twice a month, once a week? I'm just kind of looking for a transition plan once he is fully staffed in that office. And I know that the office is moving over to HR. So I did fully watch the video, but just wondering how will it be offboarded from the vendor to the full staff to ensure that there's no gaps in timeliness? So that was a follow-up question again for Mr. Henderson. And then I did have, and I know all of my questions, unfortunately, my people are not here so I know that these are all kind of just stated for the record. But for follow-up, there was discussion around, Ms. Bowman discussed around the virtual plan in her report, and the virtual plans and visual accommodations during virtual learning. There was an off comment. I don't want to say off comment. There was a comment or a statement that was made kind of like to the effect that there's legislation around IEPs. I wondered if it felt like she was referring to local legislation or even state legislation. So I wondered if there was local or state legislation around 504 plan learners and virtual plans. So that is a question that I will be putting back towards Ms. Bowman. And then we still did not receive the data of the SPED plan. This was requested in January. We requested the SPED plan that was originally with PGCPS that was created by Ms. Bowman prior to her departure to MDSE and then back to PGCPS, and was from school year, I believe, 2022 through 2024. So we hadn't received that data. And then for clarity, my question to Ms. Bowman, and again, I'll put this in email by the close of the business week this week. And I'm sorry, I've been traveling, so I haven't gotten my emails out like I've wanted to. But there was a question, my actual question around our hard of hearing and DOH population was specifically to how we teach them to read. It was not about them being English second language learners. It was more that when they're reading materials, it does not have, and I'm sorry, I don't have any other way but a visual to give you, but it wouldn't have, it should essentially, and now my pen wants to run out, awesome. It should essentially look like this, right? So you would have the ASL at top so that they can read the hand signs, and then the English words at the bottom. So my question was, do we have actual reading materials that way for our students who are hard of hearing or deaf of hearing? And that's the best clinical best practices on how they learn, is that if you're reteaching them how to read, is that the line above is all ASL. So you're going to put it in, if I was to spell my name, it would be CHARISSE, right? So, and I know I did say before that I do speak sign language. So you would have that at top, and then you would have CHARISSE written out underneath. So that was more my question. What was the actual materials that the children have to learn to read? Not necessarily, I wanted to see their reading materials because parents are reporting across the district that the reading materials are not set in that way. And so they're just learning how to read English. There are no ASL signs on the line above. And then my last thing would be a point of order. If Ms. Johnson, if you can send me the attendance records from prior to me being the recording secretary so that I can do the full attendance report. I do believe that I didn't become recording secretary until like that December of 24, or maybe even at January of 25. So I don't have a certain set of, there's some months that I'm missing. So I wouldn't be able to provide a complete report. And thank you, Chair Smith, for recognizing me. And again, I recognize that a lot of my questions are for people who are not here. So I will make sure that I get those in an email to DIAB and to the board members so that they can go to the appropriate places. Thank you.
I appreciate consolidating all of that. I did just have a couple of follow-up things. One, with the ESOL students, I did not realize that your question was pertaining to the reading materials. So we'll make sure we get that question answered. As it relates to the 504 learners and legislation, I don't have an answer for that, but I will tell you I'm a member of COPA, and I know that other states have presented legislation specifically for 504 plans and that whole process. And it was a topic of discussion. But in lieu of directing this question to Ms. Bowman, I think that we may want to invite Dr. Faison here because 504 plans fall under her purview. The other thing, I just wanted to backtrack. I think it was Miss Cottrell as well as Miss Blackwell. And I tried my best today to go through all of the emails. So I sent out the report, or at least the response that we had received as it relates to equity assurance and ADA accommodations. And I believe those were in addition to me, but there were 3 additional inquiries related to that. But Ms. Cottrell and Ms. Blackwell, I could not find the emails. And I think it was Ms. Cottrell. So Ms. Cottrell, if you want to put your response on record right now, I would like to give you the floor to do so. Or you can send the email again so that I can consolidate everything and send it up.
I will try to find that email if I sent it, because I don't remember what I wrote, if I'm being totally honest with you at this juncture.
No problem.
And I would prefer to do it that way. Thank you, though.
Sounds good. Thank you. All right, Miss Patrick.
Yes, I know we've spoken about, engaging parents of students with 504s, but I am also wondering if the group has any interest or thinks it may be helpful to also engage educators with disabilities at future meetings here, like potentially to testify, I guess, with us about their experiences navigating. I just recognize that our policy, also addresses the experiences of staff, right? And so I'm wondering if that is something we would be interested in doing.
So 2 things. One, I want to make sure I'm not crossing meetings or sidebar discussions, but I remember something to the recollection that the district has a procedure and maybe a process pertaining to staff directly as it relates to accommodations. It does not mean that, because this policy is still in place, it doesn't mean that we could not open up to engagement at the staff level. So hopefully what I just said makes a little bit of sense. I think what may be worthwhile is that we have this as an item in our discussion with Mr. Dwyer about this bigger plan to engage families. So maybe it'll be twofold, families as well as staff. Is that helpful, Ms. Patrick?
Yes, for sure, for sure.
Okay, awesome. Ms. Brown, I saw your hand, I think, but the tile moved. Okay. All right. Are there any other new business items? All right. Don't see any. The chair moves that the Disability Issues Advisory, Miss Payne, you just called me.
I was trying to find my button. It's not really new business. I just want to announce that on next Tuesday, we have our CCAT meeting, and the title is Preparing Our Youth with Disabilities for Life After High School. And Doralee Palamos, who is the Assistant Supervisor of Secondary Transition for Prince George's County Public Schools, will be our guest speaker. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Miss Payne. And you just reminded me, I actually think it's this week. I'm trying to see if I can pull up the email real quick. I think that college and career readiness I think that there's a meeting not a meeting, but like a showcase this week. Hold on, try to pull up my email real quick. Usually they have that night at Largo High School. Um, oh my goodness, I get so many emails. I c- I can't pull it. It's not relatively available right now. But the district, what I do know is that the district is hosting a college and career readiness for students with special needs. I just cannot identify the date or the location. But I can make sure that we get that information inside the notes. So, Ms. Payne, thank you so much for informing us of the CCAC meeting next Tuesday. Hope that everybody can attend. I'm sure that'll be a great presentation. All right. Any other questions? Seeing none. The chair moves that the Disability Issues Advisory Board.
Chair Smith, I'm sorry, just a point of order. You want me to add the additional meeting that they do for students in April, you said? Just making sure I have my notes correct.
So I don't have a
I'm
date.
gonna,
I think the meeting that I'm speaking on right now is in March. It's separate from the one that I mentioned earlier today.
okay. I'll make sure to just make a note that there might be separate meetings. Thank you.
Great. No problem. Thanks. The chair moves that the Disability Issues Advisory Board. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. Let me read this real quick. I'm still under new business. I thought I was about to adjourn the meeting. I need to back up, guys. So there have been some concerns with our current meeting dates days. Let me say it. There has been concerns with our meeting days. We have two members, a part of this board that they're part of the membership, but they must attend this other meeting, which is CCAC. And in some instances, it overlaps with DIAB. So the question is, or actually, it's not a question, it's a motion. The chair moves that the Disability Issues Advisory Board meet on the third Tuesday of each month at 6:30 p.m. for the 2026-2027 school year. That's the motion. Oh my goodness. I need to back up. Ms. Vickery, we need to see if we still have a quorum.
Mom, can you please go? Oh, go.
Chair Smith,
Yes.
this is Tia. Yeah, you still have a
We have quorum.
Excellent. So let me restate my motion. The chair moves that the Disability Issues Advisory Board meet on the third Tuesday of each month at 6:30 p.m. for the 2026-27 school year. Do I have a second?
I second.
Are there any questions? It has been properly moved and second that the Disability Issues Advisory Board meet on the third Tuesday of each month at 6:30 p.m. for the 2026-27 school year. Ms. Vickery, do we need a vote? I don't think we need a vote. I don't think there's no objection. Are there any objections? I haven't done a motion in a while. I'm confusing my own self. There are no objections. The motion passes. All right. Are there any additional topics?
Chair Smith, I think we also needed to alert DIAB about the one date change that we have coming up. Is it for April? I believe it is.
Can you remind me, Ms. Johnson?
for the next
I have
meeting?
I have April 21st for the next meeting. Is that correct?
Yeah, that should be, let me double check. Because I know that there was a discussion, I believe that it was originally on another date, I think, and we moved it to the
Yes,
21st.
it
Yeah.
was originally, yes, it was. So I think you just need to advise everyone that there was a change. It was and just to remind you, it was originally for the 21st and it got moved and now it's going back to the 21st. So it was selected at the 21st originally at the beginning of the school year. It had to move like within 30 days of that, but now we're back because the space is back open.
Okay,
And
great.
also too, if I could just point out, the invitation was also sent to everyone's calendar. So you want to check the date, on April 21st, you should see it on your calendar as well.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Thank you for that update too, Ms. Vickery. All right. Are we ready, guys? Ms. Toran Myers?
Okay, maybe maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just confused. You just put a motion out for us to meet on you said the third Tuesday?
That is correct. Originally, we were meeting on the second Tuesday, and there was a conflict on some
Correct.
months with CCAT.
Correct. And so we've been meeting here. This meeting, the last meeting, that's the third Tuesday. Am I missing that? Is it me?
No, I think I have, Chair Smith, I have it. We had actually approved these dates and moved them around at the beginning of the school year. So what
Yeah.
you're seeing is the decisions that were already made. So the motion essentially was for next school year and has
Oh, gotcha.
solidified what next school year is going to be.
Okay.
But towards the end of this school year, we were kind of we had already
Okay.
made the changes because Ms. Payne had already had her schedule and I believe there is another member, but I know Ms. Payne off the top of my head is a member as well. But she had already had her schedule and we were able to move and, duck and dodge and weave about this school year. But in order to not do that again next school year, that's what the motion was. Sorry, Chair Smith. Just wanted
No,
for the
thank
rest
you.
of the school year, we're already on a third. It looks that way. But the motion was more for next school year.
Thank you, Ms. Vickery. You keeping me in line. This is very helpful. All right. You guys ready now? All right, seeing no other questions. The chair would like to inform the public that the next meeting of the Disability Issues Advisory Board is scheduled for April 21st, 2026. Please continue to visit the Prince George's County Board of Education website for meeting details and any updates. Thank you all for your valuable contributions this evening. To our viewers, we appreciate you tuning in and thank you for your continued support. There being no further business, the time now is 7:26 p.m. and the March 17th, 2026 meeting of the Disability Issues Advisory Board is hereby adjourned. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good
Thank you.
night.
Bye.